Go.
Hi there. Now we're visiting our battery system. And so we've got this nice insulated lid to keep the batteries cool. Probably one of the biggest things is keep your batteries as cool as possible. We dug into the ground a little bit to set them into the earth, and then the other biggest thing is keep your batteries as full as possible. I mean, this is true of your computer battery or of your solar batteries. It's like you want to keep your batteries full. It's going to prolong their life. So like with a battery in a solar system, you might have a 5 to 10 year shelf life, and the more full they are, the better it is for their longevity. A lot of people get confused because they're thinking like, no, my computer guy said take it all the way down to 0 and then all the way back up, and it's like, yeah, do that the first time, maybe twice, because then it's like it shows your battery its full capacity, and then it's like when you're not near a charge, you can maybe have 4 or 5 hours. You can watch a whole movie on a plane and then do your work. But after that, what you want to do is keep your batteries as topped off as possible, and that's going to extend their shelf life, like how many years they're going to give you that energy. So we've got 4 fairly large cells here. These are 6-volt cells, and we wired them in series, so we've got a 24-volt system. And the reason we have a 24-volt system is because that's what our inverter is, a 4024. So it's a 4,000-watt inverter that runs on 24 volts. With no other constraints, I recommend 48-volt systems, because then you're losing less on wire loss. Like the higher your voltage, then your amps go down, and you need smaller wire. One of the reasons why AC needs less wire size than DC is because the voltage is like 120 volts, sometimes even 240, instead of like a 12 or a 24 volt. So ours is 24 volt versus 120. So it's like we need 5 times less amps is flowing through, and that's gonna shift your wire size considerably, which is why we saw like that little number 6 or number 8 cable coming out, whereas like this is huge honking 4-aught cable coming out of the batteries. Out of the inverter into the house is like maybe a number 6 or an 8 standard. So battery maintenance, one of the things we're looking at, we've got this tricky little kind of tubing coming out of a thing, and that makes it easy to just squeeze. Always using demineralized water, distilled water. Don't want to fuck with the what's going on in the batteries. There's a lot of battery acid, which makes one of the reasons batteries are so toxic, and one of the reasons you want to take really good care of your battery system is this is the most ecologically impactful aspect of a solar system. Is like you don't want to be replacing your batteries every couple of years. This isn't good for the earth either. It's not maybe not as bad as burning fossil fuels, but take good care of your batteries. Keep them cool, keep them full. Keeping them full is also about design. So like one of the things we're looking at is like how big does your battery bank need to be? When we were up at the array, I was talking about like here in Baja, I really only need my batteries to get me through the night. Like occasionally I might have a day of clouds, and like on those day of clouds, I want the batteries to like kind of go. And like the once a year that we get like a few days of clouds, I might just whip my generator out and like recharge the batteries like the second day out. So I don't need huge battery backup to keep me going through each night. 3 days of autonomy is fairly standard in the States, where it's like you want to make sure you've got enough amp hours in your batteries to get you through however many days of clouds you might have. And then when you've got, so sizing your battery bank is important, but then like sizing the battery bank also informs sizing the array, because you want to make sure that your panels are filling your batteries to 100% full whenever there is sun shining. So it's like when there's sun, you're running near 100%. And if there's sun every day, hopefully you're discharging 20% during the night. So like your batteries are staying 80% full standard. And then like that when there's 2-3 days without sun, you might be discharging down to 50%. So your state of charge on a battery system should be 80%, depth of discharge 20%. Occasional, like these are deep cycle batteries, so taking them down to 50%, a couple times a month, not a big deal. But we don't want to be taking them much below that. So you can connect onto the attached chart and see where the battery voltages are. So like a 24 volt system is basically full in like the 25-4 kind of range, and like you don't ever want to let it get below, like on a nightly level, you don't want it to go below 24 volts, because that's 80% state of charge, and you never want it to get down into the 23. So like when you do tricky little like inverter set points, if you've got a grid tied or if you've got a generator kicking, like you might set your low battery cutoff at like 23, sometimes 22. So that's kind of like the voltage system. Same thing as like car batteries, 12 volts. But like if you've ever had like a car charger, it's like usually that's reading like 13 volts when you plug it in. Like that's, you know, taking your batteries like up 100%. So that's our battery system. Again, the amp hours, how many amp hours of usable energy you have is a big part of batteries, and that's the design aspect. The maintenance aspect largely is about cleaning off your terminals and then spraying on some electric goop so like the corrosion doesn't become an issue, and keeping the water topped off. Like you can also get sealed batteries, and those are good for certain climates, certain areas, lower maintenance. There are some advantage to these vented cells. Most car batteries are standard vented, and like you need to like make sure that you're not getting as low as those lead plates in there, so that you can really harm a battery if the water level falls. So those are some of the key aspects to a battery system, and yeah, keep it charged.